tutorial on how to structure an ad. We're hoping by the time we're done here, you'll have a solid foundation on how an ad for house to home should be structured and created. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the concept of the inverted pyramid. And this is something that obviously the primary aspect of this is the USP or unique sell point, but which is what a lot of people refer to this as is a inverted pyramid of the USP. There's four parts of this. The USP being the most important, taking up the most space. Support being second, which is supportive information. Your offer, and then finally your CTA or call to action and signature. And these are given the amount of sort of acreage that they should have on the ad. USP being the largest and support information. The USP can even be a little bit larger than that, and support information can be smaller. These are variables that can be fudgeable, but should retain a similar amount of information in each category. So, what is a unique selling proposition? USP. The factor or consideration presented by a seller as the reason that one product or service is different from and better than that of its competition. And basically, why are you better than your competition? And that's exactly what each ad has to do, is it has to identify the differences between your clients, and which is really important, because otherwise, truthfully, if you're all the same and there's no differences, then it just comes down to who's cheaper, and that's never the case. So this is a really important aspect, and this is the one thing that needs to be the absolute foundation for the advertisement. So what makes a good USP? I think that the best USPs are a great visual element, plus a short headline. Great visual elements can tell a story, can both get attention and tell a story at the same time. This one simply has three words, and it makes a joke, tells a story, and really gets a point across. Here's a couple examples of images that I think are really effective. Most like this don't have anything on the ad except for a signature and a small URL in the upper left hand corner. This is executive search and dating. This tells a great story, gets your attention. Kind of hard to turn to this page and not look at it, but it's just a well thought out advertisement. This one, you can easily tell what the USP is. It gets your attention, and then you realize, oh yeah, Jumbo Peanuts, they're trying to say that their peanuts are really large or larger than everybody else's, but they do that in a really interesting way. Made for strong dogs, gets your attention, a little bit of humor, and tells a story. Love this one because it doesn't have a single word on it other than the lifeguard on the shirt, and the Pepsi can, but it tells a story. Like, a certain amount of time has transpires just in a single image, where you can understand everything that's happened. So if you think out an image in itself, it can do almost all the work of the ad, without having to place any text anywhere. Okay, then let's get started. First we're going to do is we're going to take an ad that's already been built that we feel is a solid ad, and then we're going to deconstruct that ad and recreate it step by step for you. The advertiser we've chosen is California Victory Garden, and what they are, to give you a little bit of background, they are as a landscaping company, but they specialize, their USP is that they specialize in edible gardens and sustainable hardscapes. So that's what sets them aside from the other landscapers that are in our publication. And so the first thing that we have to do is we have to think who we're targeting. They're targeting a little bit older group, possibly retired, definitely people with the time to have a edible garden. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look for a visual image that goes along with that, that appeals to the demographic that we're trying to hit. So first visual element, somebody that's a little bit more in the age range that we're looking for, and has to do with a garden. There isn't anything in this photo that necessarily has to do with landscaping, but it's an appealing photo of somebody who's into gardening that the person that we're trying to target can identify with. And then the next part of the USP is to find a headline that goes along with this. And we chose landscaping with a twist. And together those two make up the USP. And you can see down at the bottom we're going to be labeling each of these as what we've built so far. Next thing we're going to look for is support information. So this is where the meat comes in. You've got their attention, they understand what we're looking for or who this is heading towards. Now we're looking to give them the actual information, the meat, tell them exactly what it is that we do. And support information can be made up of text and images. Here we have the subheadline, finally someone that can do it all. We offer traditional and creative landscapes with a unique twist of expertise in edible landscapes and sustainable gardens. Let us design and build your landscape project with easy maintenance in mind for year-round beauty. We have a couple of photos of some of the examples of the things that they do, ranging from edible gardens to regular landscapes, hardscapes. And then just a listing of bullet points, what they do: culinary gardens, historic preservations, hardscapes, complete renovation, waterscapes, and outdoor lighting. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the offer, which is free consultation and a virtual landscape. And then after that, we have the signature, which is a simple logo, your call to action, which is call us today to get your project, or call us today to discuss your project and get started, and then their contact information leading them to the website for more information, license number, and a phone number. And then this is the information that you have gathered up, and then this will be submitted to the art department. And the art department can help you find the imagery as well if they can't provide any. I believe the original image at the top was actually found by the art department, as well as some of the supplementary photos that are in the support area. I think the company only provided one image of the raised planter beds on the very far right in the support information. But once all of that is done, now it's time for the art department to design the ad, and they'll find imagery, textures, things, typography that we feel works with all of the information that's in there, and come up with an ad. And this is the ad that was built based on all of this information. It's got all the same information. You'll notice it gives almost half of the ad is dedicated to the USP, which is really important because you don't necessarily get the attention of every person that's reading the publication. So the assumption is that everybody's going to read their ad and everybody's going to read everything on the ad, when in fact people miss the big picture, which is most people don't actually see the ad. They don't look at it. They skim through, and if you don't get somebody's attention within a few seconds, if that, they're not going to read any part of your ad, let alone all of the sort of secondary information that's down at the very bottom. So it's important to have something that visually attracts someone and they can identify with immediately in order to make it a successful ad. Alright, so here is a section we call the good, the bad, and the ugly, and some examples of what works and what doesn't work. And these are all advertisements that run in our publication. First, we got Bath Simple. Some great imagery of some nice bathrooms that they've done. Tagline: custom bathrooms on time, on budget. Their USP is very clear that they are on time and on budget, which is something that not necessarily every contractor takes pride in. And some secondary information down at the bottom, and contact. Very clean, an offer that sort of stands out but doesn't draw too much attention to itself. Pretty well done, very straightforward. Granite transformations. They get a lot of stuff in this ad, but it works. Done in a day, beautiful for life. Their USP is the fact that you can have granite countertop overlays and you can have them in a day. You don't have to have your life turned upside down for 2 weeks. And then down at the bottom, they have a ton of secondary information, but they've organized it correctly so that if you want to get further into the ad, you just keep reading down at the bottom. It still dedicates enough area at the very top to get attention. It's a nice kitchen. It's a good example of the work that they do. They have a good sized offer, and it also is an offer as well as secondary information because it shows you a picture of what it looks like when they do their countertop overlays. Hunter Douglas always has well built and designed ads. An image that is a very nice, professional, clean image showing off one of their products, and then secondary information and rebates and all the contact information down at the bottom. Just always very, very solid, clean ads they have. And now the bad and the ugly. These are, not to pick on anyone, but these are examples of ads and marketing concepts that were just really poor. This is one for Link Corporation, which is a contractor in the Bay Area. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to show pictures, and these were provided by them, and they insisted on using them. Pictures of a project in the middle of being built. Now, and their USP, I guess, is that they do complete construction services, which is actually not a terrible USP because not every contractor does everything, and they are really big on not having subcontractors, which is also you can see there on the right upper right hand corner. They go into that, and that's also a big deal. But the problem with this is they used an awful photo. It's mostly a chain link fence of a half finished project, and their marketing concept, or their attempt here, was to show the project as they went along. But what they missed was, where they totally missed on this one, was that this doesn't inspire anybody to get their house redone. This is Cal Vintage. They insist on having a ton of stuff. They're very particular about exactly how they want their ad built. My eye doesn't have, as soon as I look at this, my eye doesn't have any idea where to go, where to start reading. They have their logo at the very top, which really, unless you know who they are, doesn't mean anything to you. The roofs and new roofs that they have as their photos on the right are very small. You can barely tell exactly what they are, and they have so much information. This is actually a quarter page ad, so this is way too much information for a single quarter page ad. You really don't have a lot of time to get somebody's attention and tell them what it is that that you're trying to provide for them. So it's not a bad idea to take most of this information and put it on your website, which I'm sure it is, and then lead them to the website, or tell them to give you a phone call and they can describe all the things that they do. And that concludes our tutorial on how to construct an advertisement. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.